If you had told me when I was a child I'm gonna have a business with my brothers, I'd be like, wow, maka. We pitched a show called My Perfect Family about a child star actor who lives with his divorced parents.
So you've been writing?
I've been writing, I think. I've been wanting to tell stories. Yeah.
And what's your role?
I am the creative director, so I come up with ideas. I see the execution of all the shows from development all the way to execution.
What are the key elements you're looking for in a good story?
I think character. I think it's also what I look for in stories. What are you trying to say? And for me, there's another quote of Phoebe Waller-Bridge who does Fleabag. She's always like, you disarm the audience with comedy and then you punch them in the gut with drama when they least expect it.
How are you catering all your projects and even writing for all these different platforms?
Well, I think it's important to know your audience and know who you're telling each story for.
What do you feel is lacking or needs to be taken away from our scripts, even just so we can reach that international level?
I don't want to be controversial, but I do think that living in a telenovela world, it's hard. It doesn't get easier, but you just got to keep swimming.
I'm an African. Are you African? I'm an African. Everybody's an African. Feels good, right? Feels good. Feels good. Feels good. It feels good every day when every African turns and shines my way. All my brothers from Zaire, Ethiopia, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. It feels good every day when every African turns and shines my way. All my brothers from Zaire, Ethiopia, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. I'm from the continent of refugees and rebels, where minds are richer than all rubies and marbles. Laughing is best, view it from all angles. No longer do we wear shackles, but life's bangles. AIDS increases, the poverty's in levels, where flowers blossom every day in hard grovel. Traditional acts just brings out the marvel in every African's heart filled with sorrow. Wait for tomorrow, but the road remains narrow. African minds sharp like bow and arrow. We're aiming for higher places, man, I tell you. Communication through rhythms until I see you.
Good day, and welcome to another exciting episode of Filmatic. Today, we are excited to invite an award-winning writer, director, and producer who is one of the creative geniuses behind Burnt Onion Productions. Her name is Rethabile Ramaphakela. From her days as a TV presenter to building an empire with Seriously Single, How to Ruin Christmas, and Miss Education, Rethabile is redefining storytelling in the industry. But it's not just the stories she tells, it's the way she tells them, the way she amplifies Black female voices and pushes for true representation on every level. As a fearless champion for diversity, she continues to break down barriers, making space for creatives to thrive. Now, please join me in welcoming a bold visionary who's an unapologetic force in film, Rethabile Ramaphakela.
Are you going to add like the audience clapping in the background?
They're already there.
From sitcom world. So how are you?
I'm blessed. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Super. Please have a seat.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's so good you have finally come.
Yeah, I know. You've been there trying to be like, when are you coming? When are you coming? When are you coming? I'm here. Yeah.
So no, let's get into it. Let's get this party started. How are you, Rethabile?
How am I? I'm good. How are you, Q?
I'm blessed. I'm rocking. I'm really excited about this one. I know there's a lot of people also excited.
Who's a
about
lot
this
of
one.
people?
Filmmakers, also your friends. I've seen you got a lot of friends. Like a lot of friends. I know some of them, so I know they glued even right now.
Okay.
Peace, y'all.
They better be. Yeah, views. We need the views. Count. Yeah.
So now, before we kind of get into things, I'm gonna start early, nyana. I'm told you had a matric project, a documentary, that you involved everyone, apparently. And you made yearbooks obsolete.
Oh, did I?
I'm told with this film.
I think I attempted to make a documentary, but it wasn't successful.
What happened? Tell us about this.
No, I've obviously loved film and television for a very, very long time. So in matric, my parents for my 18th birthday got me a little camcorder.
Okay.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
A video camera.
Yeah.
The old school one.
Yeah,
where you put your hand, little tape. And I was like obsessed. So I'd go to school and I'd be like, you know what? I'm going to make a documentary about the matric dance. You know, I was like so sure that this is what people want to see. This is what they want to hear. But my problem is I was going to people and going, what do you think about the matric dance? And people were like, that's not a documentary question. Someone even said to me, they went like, do they go to lions and say, what do you think about being a lion? So that shut my documentary career right down. But I did end up making an episode of a show called Misunderstood.
Okay.
For my matric project for drama.
Dope.
I made a whole TV show. I was the DOP, I was the director, I was the scriptwriter, I was the editor. So this is how vain I was in school.
So when the credits rolled, it was just your
my name. And then I had interviews with each of those people, and it was just me. I'm so embarrassed. I'm sorry to everyone that I made watch that. But it was a show about, you know, these high schoolers, and they were multiracial. And yeah, I suppose I've always had this bug.
So you've been writing?
I've been writing. I think I've been wanting to tell stories. I think that's the better way to say it.
That's the better way to say it. It's just in you, hey?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And then earlier on, you were a presenter, TV.
Yes.
Tell us about
I started when I was like in primary school. I was on the Molo Show on SABC2. Do you remember the Molo Show?
The name sounds familiar, yes, I remember.
I started there and I was a kids presenter. Then I went to KTV. That's where I met a lot of my friends that I know now, all the former YoTV presenters, all the KTV presenters. So I've always had an interest in film and television. I know that in my matric year, I even spoke to one of the line producers at KTV, and I was like, how much does this cost? I literally asked her, I was like, how much does this cost? And she was like, oh, it costs like, and back then, I mean, she's like 20K or something like that. And I was like, wow, okay. Like, and how do you bring it all together? And then, you know, that I've always had an interest about behind the scenes. So I was like, this is what I want to do. And also when I was in matric, a lot happened in matric. You could go do like a intern or go job shadow someone in the industry. And literally, I decided to message Ilza, who's now at Okra, and behind Soon Comes Night and all those kind of shows. She was working there on Isidimo.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, yo, can I come shadow you? And yes. And what I remember is, because Isidimo was shot in studio, she has a little TV in her office, a little box TV, and she watches from there. And then if she doesn't like anything, she'd be like, why is he wearing that wardrobe? And I'm like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. So ever since then, I was like that. And then when we had our first sitcom, I had a little TV in our office that I could watch and call it. Oh my gosh.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Straight after matric, it's film school?
Yeah, I did. I was at AFTA. I did the BA, motion picture medium. I did writing, directing, producing, which is what I do now. I write, direct, and produce.
And then as soon as you got out, are we starting the production company?
So, you know, I always tell people this, like, people always say after students are so arrogant. Like, you know, they come out here and they think they can do anything. They're not lying. Let's be honest.
No, they are lying. Are you not humble sitting at this table?
No, I am, but...
I'm not humble sitting at this table.
But we have delusions of grandeur.
Yeah, I can't speak for everyone, but the guys I roll with, I know.
It's not arrogance. I just think that we knew we can go big and we know we want to do big. So while I was in third year, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start a production company. And I was like, I want to make TV shows. I want to go back to high school. My yearbook quote says, watch out for my production company, which will make rocking TV shows and films. So I was like, okay, it's time. I'm 21. How hard can this thing be? Like, let me start it. You know, arrogance, confidence. And then Tsepo, my older brother, he was working in corporate. I said to him, listen, I want to register a company. And he's like, sharp, let's do it. So he said, what do you want to call it? And I was like, Burnt Onion Productions. I'll give you the backstory. When I was in grade 5, and a guy in our class was like trying to name his band. And, you know, people were saying fried tomatoes. And I was like, that's dope. Like, you know, it's so different. You'll remember it. And he was like, no, that's right. Because someone said burnt onions. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is such a cool name. And he was like, that's whack. And I was like, fine, one day I'll use it. I mean, and then I used it. And then obviously when you register a company, you have to give them 3 different names in case the name is taken. But obviously no one had ever had burnt onion as a name. And then it just sort of became our corporate identity because now we're always cooking. That's why the onions are burnt. We're the 3 chefs. So we registered that company in 2008. Okay. And then sort of it was like, what do we do now? It's just like, sharp, I have a company, what happens now? And Katleho, who's my middle brother, he was already working in the industry. He used to act on Backstage and he was actually producing at the time. He produced a show called Mtunzini.com. I don't think so he was acting and producing. So he was like, can I join your company? And we're like, okay, fine. If you must join us, come through. And he ended up being the MD because he was the only one with actual television experience. And that year, the SABC had an RFP book. So they used to send out this brief book. That
thick one. Really, I remember.
And it's like you could pitch for whatever shows were in there. And there was a show about growing pains and being a kid. And we pitched a show called My Perfect Family about a child star actor who lives with his divorced parents. And that year we got it. And then the SABC had no money. So that was the beginnings of Burnt Onion Productions almost, I think, 17 years ago now. Jeez.
Now tell us about running a production with no money.
Well, I was working elsewhere at the time because I couldn't work full time for a company that, had like what was going to be happening. So I was voicing a show called V Entertainment as my side gig while Burnt Onion is happening on the side hustle. So
this one Vuzu's kind of still starting.
Yeah, actually before it was Vuzu, it was called Go. And the inserts were called Stokaratsi. And then Vuzu became a channel and they wanted to do this thing called V Entertainment and they still wanted to keep the celeb gossip. So they were like, you stay. And then, I became the girl that everyone thought was white. Behind the voiceover booth saying seriously and like being really shady and
I actually remember that voice.
That's me. I'm surprised you don't even know. Wow. Yeah, that was me.
Oh my gosh.
So I was a production coordinator and I did that for like a couple of years while on the side Burnt Onion was going. So we were still developing the show even though the SABC had run out of funds. It gave us time to actually develop.
Oh, wow.
So by the time that they got out of their financial crisis, we were ready to go. And when I tell you ready to go, I think like they were like in May, they're like, okay, go into pre-prod. We want the show on in July or we want you shooting in July. It was like 2 months. And then it was on in like September or something like that. Yeah.
That's crazy. You mentioned your brothers.
Yes.
What's it like working with your brothers? And please, what elements does each of them bring to the business?
Everyone always asks, what's it like working with your brothers? And I'm like, isn't it the best thing? Because they've known me all my life and I've known them.
We have siblings.
Yeah.
We all have siblings.
But why? You wouldn't work with your siblings?
I'd love to. I'm not sure if they'd want to work with me.
Why? Where's that?
I'm the genius. In the family.
Oh, I think we need to call a friend and verify if that is true. No, I think, look, we never planned to work together. I think it's just all, I don't know, God's plan, I suppose.
Yeah.
These 3 kids from Diepkloof, I think our parents were like, why are you in this industry? Like other people's kids are becoming accountants and buying cars and, getting real money. We're still out here living at home, running. Diepkloof, Burnt Onion started out of the house called Diepkloof. Yeah, so 985 for life. So that's where we're from. If you saw even on My Perfect Family, the exterior of the house on the show is our childhood home.
That's your childhood home?
Yeah, well, that's where we grew up. So yeah. So like kids used to ring the bell and be like, where are the characters from the show? But yeah, I think we're all just very different. Cats obviously also has a BCom accounting degree.
Okay.
So, him being able to handle the business from that front, but he's also an actor. He's really creative, great writer. I'm inspired by him more than you'll ever know. He wrote Lobola Man. There's another very, very dope movie coming out. He runs kind of like the business aspect of being the MD, looking over things, cash flows, and he writes and he's a creative. So there's always that balance of it. And then he's like my partner in crime and everything. So if I come up with an idea and I'll pitch it to him and he'll be like, nah, or he'll be like, add this, or this sucks. Or a lot of when we started, everything sucked. I was like, oh, here's my script. Read my script. And he's like, this is terrible. It's like, what are they teaching you there at after? No, I'm kidding. But yeah, he played a big role in me, becoming the writer that I am today, I think. And then we have Tapa, who comes from corporate, proper 9 to 5, worked at a bank. He was just like, I want out of this life. And then he did film and he's like, whoa, wait, what do you mean you guys work beyond 5? Wait, let's talk about this. The funniest is when, people started working for us. He'd be like, you have to tell them to go home. And we're like, no, we're in pre-prod, or, they're going to work until we have to go home. So it was an adjustment, but he handles like sort of the business aspects of things and making sure things are in check. And, so yeah, we all sort of like complement each other. If you had told me when I was a child, I'm going to have a business with my brothers, I'd be like, wow, Maka. Impossible. Yeah.
And what's your role?
I am the creative director. So I come up with ideas. I see the execution of all the shows from development all the way to execution. I am the creative lead. I'm sure Ati has told you that I am a bit like on point and I get on people's nerves, pushing them to get, the best out of them.
Mean.
Oh, she would never. She would never. Why would you lie?
I won't tell you what she said off camera.
Okay. Ati, when I don't call you, it's Q's fault.
I'm joking.
No, yeah. So I take care of story. Story's my thing. I take care of execution. I'm a showrunner / we call them creative producers now in South Africa. That's what I do.
You're really attached to story here. I can tell.
Yeah, it's what's key, right? Like if you look at Nollywood or anything like that, sure, quality can be amazing, quality can be average.
Yeah.
But it's the story that keeps people watching. The industry wouldn't be so successful if the stories weren't. I once came home and my mother was crying and I was like, what's going on? And she's like, no, there's a story on TV. And she's like, the pastor, I don't know. She explains the whole story to me. And I'm like, okay. And then I go to the TV to see what channel, because she was touched. And it was like Africa Magic, but back in the day.
I remember, yeah.
And I was like, wow, with the sound distorting and everything, she still got hooked into the cameras. She still followed the story. And that's why you can have 100 billion rand film and the quality can be the best thing that we have and it still tags. Because why? There's no story there. What are we following? What are you saying? Who are these people? So
what are the key elements you're looking for in a good story?
I think character. I think, I always believe, and if you look at any of our stories, I would hope the characters stick out. When we made How to Earn Christmas, I think like the character that we made of Dumi was something that I wanted to be like, women characters don't have to be the mother or the gangster. You know what I mean? It's like we can actually be multifaceted. And I love the idea of this black sheep coming home for her sister's wedding and it just being an ultimate mess. And I think it's also what I look for in stories. What are you trying to say? So there's the plot, like you can say the girl meets the boy, they break up and whatever. But what are you trying to say? What is the meaning behind it? And I think for like How to Earn Christmas, it was just about like, firstly, showing the audience, like we were so scared because it's like South Africa hasn't had like a Christmas show and we've been very westernized with snow and whatever. And it was, I think we were like the 3rd Netflix production to go up. And you'd had something like Queen Sono and then you had Blood and Water. And we were like, is this too black? Like they're talking a lot of Vernac, but it was so important to sort of show like black families in a different light and the interpersonal relationships and just knowing that we're so dysfunctional, but there's such a beauty in who we are in the dysfunction. So I'm always trying to say, well, what are you trying to say? Like, it's like, what are you as a filmmaker trying to say? You'll see, I make a lot of jokes now because it's entrenched in me to try be funny and maybe it's a defense mechanism. I don't know. But I think comedy is drama. And that is the quote I maybe should have written. This one says, just keep swimming. And it's from Finding Nemo, from Dora, just because I think it's a quote for life. Like, doesn't matter what you're going through, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. You'll eventually get there. And for me, there's another quote of Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who does Fleabag. She's always like, you disarm the audience with comedy and then you punch them in the gut with drama when they least expect it. And I think that's like the power of storytelling sometimes. We laugh because it's funny, but also because it's true.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I like the character. I love the character of Dume.
Yeah.
By the way.
Musi Lukhai, like literally, when you imagine a character and then you were like, who's going to play it? Who's going to play it? And then someone comes and takes it and then runs with it. It was magic.
Yeah, no. If you've ever been a black sheep in a family, I think that's why her and Mutlatsi are my favorite characters.
Are you the black sheep in your family? Do you want to talk about it? Should we switch over? Like I've been interviewing people for years. Maybe this should be about you.
No. The spotlight is on you. We will keep it on you. Now then, you've written and put content on multiple platforms: Netflix, Paramount Africa, SABC, ETV. How are you catering all your projects and even writing for all these different platforms?
Well, I think it's important to know your audience and know who you're telling each story for. I think we learned very early on is never to put all your eggs in one basket. So yes, we had a show on SABC, but it was like, we need more. And how do we do that? By diversifying. So we even started doing like reality shows and lifestyle content. I mean, that's how our relationship it was Viacom at the time. Now it's Paramount Africa. That's how it started. It's just diversify. I think sometimes people forget you got to do what you got to do what you want to do and just to get yourself out there, because it was very hard to trust 3 young black kids. I was young at one point. It's very hard to trust 3 young black kids with like making TV shows for some of the biggest broadcasters. It's very different now, which is so crazy. Like, I love that now, black production companies are on, like, there's so many, you can't even count them anymore. But back in the day, I think just like Black Brain was out there. You could count us with 5 hands, like on one hand, in terms of who was out there. So there wasn't a lot of trust in terms of what we do. So we had to diversify. So we did short form, long form. And it's all about just knowing who your audience is. Like, so, we wouldn't do something that lands on, let's say, Mzansi Magic wouldn't necessarily land on an SABC2, for example. Yeah. So I think one of the important things we always do is even in our films, is who the hell are we talking to? Because that's who we want the content to play to, and that's who we want to reach. So I love that we get to diversify. I love that we can make different things. I love that we can make something like Mahayeng and then make something like Miseducation, which is a YA show for Netflix. So I love that no year is ever the same for me. So everything always has a different impact. I've done MTV Sugar now last year. 2 years, I don't even remember, but it was a social impact series, and it's something that and we actually years ago, maybe 6 years ago, did the talk show for it. And it was always my dream then to do the actual drama series. So 5 years later, whenever we actually got to do it. So yeah, we got to pitch for it.
At Metro, we recognize how demanding production schedules can be. That's why we prioritize on simplicity, responsiveness, and the flexibility in every interaction. Our booking process is straightforward, and our team is always available to troubleshoot last-minute needs or unexpected challenges. We take pride in delivering solutions quickly and efficiently, allowing filmmakers to focus on creativity rather than logistics. This commitment to proactive support and clear communication is what defines the Mad Show difference, making every production smoother and less stressful. I notice how you keep manifesting your things from high school to that's
Do you want
incredible.
to know what a crazy story is? And I'm telling you guys first. So you always hear about The Secret and putting things out there and the power of whatever. Jim Carrey, I think he said he wrote himself a blank check for his first job or something. So I was like, okay, Disaster Holiday came out last year, and I was like, let me try this thing.
Okay.
So I went to ChatGPT and I said, write me an email congratulating me for my film reaching the top 5 on Netflix Global Countdown. And ChatGPT is like, Rethabile. And I copied it, and then I put it in an email and I sent it to myself.
Get out.
And then I saved it and I was like, what? So Disaster Holiday came out and we got to number 8.
Whoa. So now quickly just tell me, how long before the movie comes out and you sending yourself this email?
I think it was a month. So I sent the email and then I didn't read it. So I sent it to myself, didn't read it, left it there. Then the movie comes out, and I think after the first 3 days, we were in the top 8 globally on Netflix. I was like, okay, cool. Like, that's cool. I'm still in the top 10. That's amazing. Yay. And then Christmas morning, the new numbers came out, and we reached number 5 globally.
That might be the day I watched the film.
And I was like, what? I should have said in my email, top 1. Why did I limit myself? It's something that just tells you when you pray to God, you got to be specific, yeah?
Yeah, and you got to ask big. Eh?
Yeah. So I was like, I mean, I just thought it was very interesting that I said in my email, congrats for reaching the top 5. And then that is exactly what happened.
I hear you. You spoke about knowing your audience.
Yeah.
How do you find what your audience LSM is? How do you find who it is I am going for?
I think people think about this as if it's like a hard project and you must, like, the LSM of this is this and this and this. Commissioned work, obviously every channel knows who they want to hit and the kind of language they want to speak to.
Yeah.
Like SABC1 being youthful, being black, Showmax being different to Mzansi Magic, etc., etc. But now when you're creating your own ideas, and I think that's a mistake we make, people making shows for themselves.
Oh.
So you're a filmmaker, like, this story is my personal work of art. And there's nothing wrong in injecting yourself into a story, but if you don't know who's going to sit there and watch it and go, yes, I relate, then what's the point of telling the story? So for me, when we think of, if I have an idea, seriously single, about a serial monogamist who finds out that her man is actually getting married to someone else, I was telling that story to all the single ladies in South Africa. And the funny thing about that is we did all this research about how many single women there are. And I think there were 1.9 million single women in Gauteng alone, which means there are not enough men for us, which could explain a lot of what's actually happening in the world. So there are not enough men for us, and that explains how we're single. But I knew, you're finished. These are facts. I'm stating facts here. I knew that the women that we wanted to speak to were upwardly mobile. They were urban. They can switch from, going back home to Soweto, but live in a very modern world.
Yeah.
That's who we were talking to. That's who was the target market. They go out to clubs. They live in apartments. They work. And if you see our pitch deck, that's who we said we wanted to talk to.
Yes.
I asked you before this interview, I said, did you watch it? And you said, yes. And I was like, and you said, my kid loved it. And I was like, oh, great. And then I said, you said, I loved it as well. And I was like, yeah, I don't care about you. I made that for the kids. No, but I do care about you. But I think that film was made for family viewing. We don't have much family viewing. So you then structure your story in the way that you know that target market will respond to it. So it's for us, it's a no-brainer. It's not you come up with an idea, you write it, whatever, and then you go, oh, who's going to watch it? No, if you have an idea, you're like, I know exactly who this is for. And then you tailor it for that. And we've had instances where, sometimes an idea, so we've pitched a show. We first pitched it to Mnet.
Okay.
They declined. We pitched it to, Showmax, and we pitched it to Netflix, and we pitched it to everyone. But every time we pitched it, we tweaked it so it fit the target market. So let's say when it was Mnet, it was maybe more white characters, because this is a while ago. So it was a lot more white characters, and they spoke a lot of English. But when we pitched it to maybe an SABC1, it was the black characters, and we said, but the premise was still the same. Because the premise was the thing that was the hooking point of the story. All the textures of the world and stuff will depend on who you want to target as your audience.
Yeah.
So we eventually pitched it to, I won't say, but we eventually pitched it and we got it. But if you knew from where it started to where it was, but what has stayed the essence, the premise.
Yeah.
But in order to reach the right target market, you change the textures, you change the world. So yes, maybe in this other one, it was set in Cape Town, and then now it's ended up set in the Northwest, but it's still the same thing. It's characters going through the same thing, but the textures, the language all changes just because we know we're speaking to a different audience.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I know. People are just like, oh, I have this film. It's about my deepest, darkest life. And, and it's like, yeah, but who's going to watch it, yo? And I'm not saying you shouldn't make your passion projects.
Yeah.
Like, I think art house films and indie films is things, but I think the mistake we make as filmmakers is not thinking of ourselves as business people. And the idea that you should be thinking of yourself as a business. And if no one's watching your work, you're not going to make money. And maybe it's not about money for you. Maybe but I would like a sustainable future.
Yeah.
I would like to be a generation of Black people or a Black woman that can leave something for my kids. And it's not just I put stuff out and yes, maybe I won an Oscar or two. Because, I can see how people might look at like Lobola Man, Disaster Holiday and Seriously Single and be like, these are like commercial popcorn films. And I'm like, yes, and people watch them and their successes and we can continue making more because now investors can maybe believe in what we do and give us money. And then that doesn't mean though that indie film or that art project that I've really wanted to make is not going to come out. It still will. But I think we have a bigger purpose in life to sort of just like generational wealth is something that we should be considering and something that it shouldn't just be living from job to job. And it's really hard in this industry, I think, to make that all happen, but I think you've got to sometimes look at yourself differently and look at how you can make that happen for yourself. But everyone's mission is different, so I'm not saying your art house film doesn't matter, please, it matters. But I'm just saying there has to be a more sustainable way to do things.
I've had some actors, actresses as well they've spoken about script writing in our country, not yours.
It's okay. I can be on the chopping block, yeah.
What do you feel is lacking or needs to be taken away from our scripts, even just so we can reach that international level?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's what I was saying about the story, right? I was saying that I think as South Africans, we've nailed the execution.
Yeah.
Like, we can shoot.
Yeah.
We can edit. I don't think there's any question about execution.
Yeah.
But I think it lies in the story. And I just think I don't want to be controversial, but I do think that living in a telenovela world, which is, I think, there's an audience for it. It works. People love them. They're really great. But I think the way we do them is with very tight turnarounds. So you'll be writing a script in 4 days. And that's never a good thing. And I think it kind of dilutes talent and dilutes where we want to go. I really do think that we live in a country and broadcasting where it's like, oh, here's your contract, and then develop it in 2 months or 3 months and be on air like a month later. And I think we really need to spend more time in development so we can reach that international level. But I get it, right? Where are all those opportunities to write a script for a year or to do whatever you want for 6 months? Or so I'm guilty of this. Is I used to say, writing is a muscle.
Yeah.
You got to do it every day.
Yeah.
And if you do it every day, you get really good at it. Even in these fast turnaround stuff, you should be doing it every day. I know I just did a residency in the States last year for 5 weeks.
Okay.
And, talking to the top writers, showrunners, and I was amazed that the Rob Edwards, who was on The Fresh Prince, and he's, worked on so many things. And he was like, he goes home every day and he writes at least 5 pages. And I was like, oh man, why do you have to do that? And, my goal for 2025 is to get back to that because it is a muscle. And I think the problem is we don't get to, like, you'll hand in one draft of a script sometimes on a TV series and then they're like, yeah, approved. And Ernest Hemingway said the first draft of anything is shit, which is true because writing is rewriting. It's editing. The writing only actually happens once you've got the first draft because then you edit and you do the thing. So I do, and I don't know how we fix it. Like, we do comedies. Do you know how hard it is to get comedic
Hardest
writers?
genre.
Like, and to get writers that can do it is because, especially when you've now just come off telenovelas and just dramas and melodrama is big in this country, and there's nothing wrong with it. So I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it, but I think it becomes then difficult to execute in various kind of genres. Even speaking to the guys in the States, they were like, they'll often read a script from South Africa and it's just like, it's not hitting as well as it should. And that's across the board. I don't even think I've created the perfect script or have the perfect piece of work just yet. I think it's a work in progress. I think we're getting good. I think we have some really talented folks. I would love to have more comedic writers come to the fold, but obviously we need more comedies for there to be more comedic writers.
Yes.
But I'm getting excited. I'm seeing a lot of like new comedies coming up. That makes me so excited. There was a year the SAFTAs did not have a comedy category.
What?
Yeah, because they said there weren't enough shows. And that broke my heart because we had shows, but we couldn't be considered. So for now, when I see more shows in the comedy category, I'm getting excited because I think diversity in genre also makes you better writers, also makes you stand out from the pack. Yeah. We were able to specialize because we got so good at making comedies. So we fell into it. I didn't start this going, oh, we're just gonna make these comedies. It's just that when we made the sitcom, everyone boxed us into the fact that this is all we do, this is all we do.
Okay.
And because of that, we grew our muscle. And then the muscle became good that everyone's like, you guys are the comedy guys. And it's just like, that was never really the plan. But if you just work on something, you become good at it. So even while you're writing your telenovelas and you're writing your melodramas, because I know a lot of the time that's not what people actually want to do. Everyone has this other idea or this other film that they want to do.
Yeah.
You should be doing that every day. I'm speaking to myself as well. I need to be doing 5 pages a day.
So sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Can I ask you something about IP? What are your thoughts on intellectual property?
We should be able to own what we do. For us, diversifying as a company also meant owning our work.
Yeah.
I think a while ago, while we were still coming up, we actually set up meetings with Harriet from Quizzical and like Angus Gibson from Bomb to be like, yo, what should we not do, you know? And the interesting thing is it's like you have this great body of work that they've both created, and it's like none of it, they own none of it. Huh. So that's kind of a wake-up call. And also, I think you don't know where the world is going right now, right?
Yeah.
Content and how content is going to be needed is a thing that you want to be able to own your IP, but it's easier said than done because who's going to pay for it? Like if you're, a commission is the broadcaster pays for it. So by that law, they may own it, which, something that we can hopefully change within our lifetime. Because in America, this Rob Edwards, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, he is still making money off the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
To this day.
Till this day, he's still making money. So, the idea of royalties and stuff is really important. But for us, the 3 films I mentioned, we own the IP of those films.
Brilliant.
Because we applied to the NFEF for the fiction slate.
Okay.
And we were awarded the fiction slate. It was to develop 9 films, and we developed 9 films, and they gave us soft funding for 3 of them. And then we still had to go to the IDC, the DTI. So I get that's the part that's hard. Right now we have some new films, and now we're looking for, finances. But the idea that we own those films is great because we can then exploit them in other territories later once the licenses, terms with Netflix are over and stuff like that. So that is really important to us. But at the same time, commissioning work pays the bills, it keeps the lights on, so we still got to do that. But I do think that being able to own some of your stuff is really important. I know, there's a lot of complaints in the industry about the DTI and sort of funding and stuff, but there's no other country in the world that's like giving you a 50% rebate. So it's just about getting the cash flow for that. But anyway, I won't get into the technicalities, but I think IP is important because you want to be able to exploit your work. When I was talking about generational wealth and having something to leave behind, I would love to know that in 20 years' time, Disaster Holiday is going to be playing in some country in Brazil, or some city in Brazil, maybe on a local channel, and we're getting, I don't know, $100 from it? Doesn't matter. But that idea is very important. So owning our work is part of the goal.
Absolutely incredible. Mad Show supports everyone, from solo filmmakers to big productions. We want to make your process smoother so you can focus on creating instead of stressing. We tailor our services to meet the diverse needs, offering quality gear and expert support, no matter what the budget or the scope. Our goal is to ensure that every storyteller has access to reliable filmmaking equipment and a partner who understands the challenges of production. When you need a dependable service and a collaborative team invested in your success, that's the time to call Metro. The young producer, young director, they're trying to get their stuff made. What are you going to tell them?
Sure, I am going to tell them that you guys have it luckier than we did because you have these cell phones. And I know people are like, look at this, like the fact that you can be on YouTube and the goal is to monetize. I hope that's your goal, to monetize and do the podcast. Nigeria is doing very well. I mean, I know some Nigerian producers who are now just like, we're just going straight to YouTube. But because their audience is so loyal, they get those millions of followers views in like seconds. But if you are a director or a writer or someone that wants to get into it, I think firstly, do your own little things, do your own work. As Burnt Onion, if you look on YouTube on our page, there was a point in our lives that we made skits on YouTube while we were still working because we were just like, oh, we just, like we're not getting to do exactly maybe all the content we want. Let's just make these skits. I'm sure they have 500 views. I even had a little, before podcasting was cool, I had a little talk show and I interviewed like big people, Tando Tabete, Farida, before she was now Farida and now has her own podcast. I started this, no, I'm kidding. But I had like a talk show and we shot our own stuff. So I feel like doing your own content on the side, even it doesn't have to be perfect. You look at someone like Lasizwe, consistency is key. He's been doing skits and that's how he became who he is. So I do think doing your own things on the side, getting together as friends, like, our first feature, like seriously single, we did a test shoot to prove to people that we could do a film. Okay. And we called in favors, like it was this one from AFTA, that one from, and just made a project together in the hopes that people would be seen. The biggest thing I'll say is enter for everything. Okay. The National Film and Video Foundation has funds for different things. Make sure you enter them. Enter any competitions. Enter the Magic Factory, the Talent Factory, Adam Mzansi or Multi-Choice. Yeah. I think people take that for granted. We only got our films made because we applied for the National Film and Video Foundation's slate funding. So it's just like, apply for everything. Try reach out to all your faves that you see in the credits. I know we are very busy, but as much as you can, learn who's in the industry, find the HODs, find internship programs. It's hard. It doesn't get easier, but you just got to keep swimming. I've been in this 17 years. Wow. Just with Burnt Onion, and we're not even close to touching where we still want to go. So. And I still get rejected. We still pitch. We still get no's. It's not like there's an open door. Like, ideas still get shut down. I think people think, oh, it's so easy for them and whatever. It's really not. It's like I'm still pushing and trying and hustling. And I know it doesn't look like that from the outside, but I think people don't often see the parts where the SABC was in financial crisis or the parts where you had to be working another job to be able to sustain what you're doing. So that's why I'm like, just keep swimming. One day you'll look back and you're like, wow, I've come from far. We're no longer working out of Duplex Extension. We now have our own offices and, and that took years. So it's like, don't give up as well. Ava DuVernay became a director in her 40s. Like, where are you rushing to? Just hone in on that talent. Just keep working, doing the things. Beautiful, beautiful. Before I end it, I got one more thing I just need to do before I end it. No. I'm getting the gun. Just because I never said hi. Never. She never said nada, nothing. Flowers. Flowers, yes. We want to give you your flowers, literally and figuratively. Thank you so much. And thank you for doing this. I think we also had roundtable conversations with industry folk on our YouTube channel back in the day. I know I'm not the first black. No, but I think it's important for us to share knowledge whenever we can and to share stories whenever we can. I might be doing things that are so outdated that newer folk are doing, so it's always interesting to hear the other side of the story. And I saw Ati's her podcast, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. I didn't even know she came from all the way back then. I just met her once, and I was like, okay, you're directing. Okay, sure. So it's really exciting. I think our industry is in a really good place. I'm so excited for all the stories that people will continue to tell. I think let's work on the writing, let's work on development where we can. I think it's about reading scripts, downloading script, whatever movie you love. That's my favorite thing. Whatever movie you love, I like to read the script.
Oh.
And sometimes the writing is just the one script that I was like, wow, Donald Glover has just got it as Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I was not excited for that TV show. And then I watched it and I was like, oh, it's actually really dope. And then I read the script and I'm like, damn, I need to be writing like that. Yeah. I think I'll say that. Sorry. Now I'm talking too much.
No.
But like, I think that our script writing is just dialogue, right? And characters just saying that. And that's not what the art of writing is.
Okay.
Like when you pick up a screenplay, it should be like a book that you're reading that you don't want to put down.
Yeah.
And it should have your voice in it.
Okay.
Like I feel like if I gave you a script that I'd read, you'd be like, oh yeah, this sounds like her because I've had it. And I think, working on your voice and your tone will make you stand out. It'll make you a different writer, but also just like someone that's engaging. Lwazi Mvusi is probably one of my favorite writers in South Africa. You should definitely bring her here. And she just has a distinct voice. She knows how to write a screenplay, and it's just magic. And I think I've heard Quentin Tarantino talk about how he, used to read scripts and he used to be like, oh, is that it? He was like, oh, John walks over there and then he does this. But then it's like some people just write in a way that's like, imagine this song playing while he slashes her neck and whatever. And it's really got to immerse you. You've almost got to see the pictures as you read that screenplay. It's not just about characters saying word. And let your Aaron Sorkin, but he's a genius and he can do whatever he like and write dialogue. So I'd like people to practice their craft. And I'm talking to myself as well. Yeah, practice your craft. 5 pages a day. Send it to make sure it happens. Send it to a friend every night. Send your 5 pages to make sure that it happened.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Thank you for this incredible episode.
Thank you
for being so amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Next time, we'll talk for longer. And we'll put some serious stuff in these cups as well. Anyway, cheers.
Cheers.
It feels good every day when every African turns and shines my way. All my brothers from Zaire, Ethiopia, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. It feels good every day when every African turns and shines my way. All my brothers from Zaire, Ethiopia, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. Oh man.